The road to Korea and Japan and the 2002 World Cup begins in Mazatenango, Guatemala for the United States as World Cup qualifying play begins. This is Estadio Carlos Salazar in Mazatenango, Guatemala, and the crowd is rocking. Capacity is about 9,000, but about 10,000 fans have cranked their way in here. Let's take a look at the starting lineups, Taikio.
Well, Keller in goal for the USA. There was some question because of a bruised hand. And Bruce Arena very pleased with his four backs, a four-back system today. He likes their speed to defend against the counterattack by Guatemala. The midfield for the USA, Chris Armas, the defensive midfielder. Claudio Reyna, the captain for the USA, wearing the number 10, and will be the creative attacking midfielder in this setup. Up front for the USA, Kobe Jones and Ante Razov gets the chance due to the injury to Brian McBride. Joe Max Moore also out with injury. Number 9, Ruiz for Guatemala. Very much worth watching because of his quickness on the counterattack.
It is a hot and humid day in Mazatenango. 93 degrees, 93% humidity. You can see the condition of the field is good. At this point, we would like to explain the situation with our feed. We are having trouble getting transmission out of Mazatenango, so we are picking up a cooperative feed, and you may hear some announced sound underneath. We are doing our very best to get our own feed out of Mazatenango, and we will bring that to you as soon as it is available technically. There is quite an emotional pitch whenever you have to play in Central America, Ty.
Well, it's a hostile environment. The temperature 93, but of course, this game was moved from Guatemala City, the capital, to Mazatenango because of the heat factor. The Guatemalans hoping to slow down the speed of the United States with the higher temperatures. Guatemala City, the capital, nearly 5,000 feet above sea level. Mazatenango, 25 feet below sea level. It's called the Valley of Death.
The United States has been training in Miami, and the conditions in Miami today are actually similar at 90 degrees there with about 80% humidity. But of course, they don't have the hostile fans surrounding them. The United States wearing the red jerseys and socks with the blue shorts, and Guatemala in the white uniforms with the blue trim. You see the Mexican officiating staff led by Armando Archundia, and we are underway. Guatemala playing 3 backs, 5 in midfield and 2 forward. This is Herman Ruano. On the left side, Valencia, number 19. We anticipate a lot of forward runs from him off the flank. Ernie Stewart trying to force the pressure forward, and Estrada has to play it out. Tony Sane taking it down in midfield. Claudio Reyna up ahead for Stewart. Back to Reyna, who is the quarterback of the offense. Eddie Pope gets his first touch. Robin Fraser returning to the national team after missing the U.S. Cup with injury. Here's David Regi, very fast down the left side, trying to feed Eddie Lewis, but it runs out for a Guatemala goal kick.
What you see here is already the United States with many red shirts getting forward into Guatemala's half of the field. And this is unusual in world soccer, that on the road in a World Cup qualifier, that the visiting team would send so many players into the attack. So we talked to Bruce Arena 2 nights ago. He said they would not play for a tie unless it came down to the last 15 minutes of the match.
Regi goes up and wins the ball in the air, as he will so often today. And Lewis trying to run it down the sideline, but it goes out for a Guatemala throw-in. Chris Armas, who will track down many balls in midfield, chips it up for Lewis. Lewis going directly for the cross for Jones, but can't angle it out toward the penalty spot, and Estrada is on it. The United States plays a very high-paced game, Ty, and I'm wondering how long the U.S. is going to be able to keep up this ferocious pace. Sure, these players are fit, but the conditions for this kind of speed are brutal over 90 minutes.
Jack, what becomes very important is their ability to possess the ball, as they are right here through midfield, showing for the ball very well. Ante Razov linking up with Chris Armas, but possession forces the opposition to have to do the chasing.
It's always easier when you've got the ball. U.S. playing it around the back perimeter as we see Ruiz taken down by Eddie Pope a few moments ago. Sane settling it from his right back position. Now Reyna looking forward. It is Stewart on the long run. Ernie Stewart across the middle going short post for Kobe Jones. And Miranda knocks it clear. Valencia getting it back for Swisher. And here comes the Guatemalan attack. Lewis with contact in midfield, and he's whistled for the trip. Here's Valencia. And again, you hear the Guatemalan announce team underneath us. And we are doing our very best to get our own feed out of Mazatenango. And for the meantime, we will do the best we can with this feed. Handball called against Ante Razov. And Guatemala explores the flank here, and this is Valencia. Very fast, elects to go direct in on Casey Keller, who makes the easy stab.
As you look at the back four for the United States in front of Casey Keller, two guys, Robin Fraser as well as Eddie Pope, did not play in U.S. Cup because of injuries. Now there's a question, are they really ready to go for a game of such importance, such magnitude, a World Cup qualifier? Tony Sane, the right back, still some question about him. How comfortable is he having to mark a player of the dribbling ability and attacking ability of Everaldo Valencia, the number 19 on the left side of midfield for Guatemala? David Regi, according to Bruce Arenas, looked very sharp all week in training for the United States.
Gustavo Cabrera coming in and throwing down Kobe Jones. Reyna puts it in play. Here's Sane. Sane getting around the slide tackle, slides it off for Armas. Now Regi right into the box, volleyed wide. Reyna, the drive deflects and goes wide. It'll be a corner kick for the U.S.
Well, we're about 4.5 minutes into this match. Guatemala has really only had one possession. The United States is half of the field. The United States, on the other hand, has had the ball quite a bit. They've had the red shirts going forward, as we mentioned. Here's Reyna taking full advantage of some space out near the edge of the Guatemalan penalty area. And unfortunate that it went out for the corner.
Eddie Lewis to take the corner, and you see Eddie Pope far forward along with Tony Sane, two backliners looking for the opportunity on the corner kick here.
The United States has a huge physical advantage on high balls into the box.
Lewis's corner. Back post, Estrada gets a piece of it. They'll do it again.
The United States will threaten on every set play. The high ball into the box, headed down by Eddie Pope, and quite a save, in fact, by Edgar Estrada, because a bouncing ball so difficult to deal with.
Again, Pope and Sane up, looking for the opportunity. Sane pops it back into the middle. The volley attempt. Razov gets a piece of it, but not the right part of his foot. It'll be a goal kick for Guatemala. Interesting pressure on Ante Razov. He's really got to produce in this opportunity here, with Brian McBride still out with a broken cheekbone.
Razov already has scored 12 goals in Major League Soccer action for the Chicago Fire, but he's not normally a starter for this U.S. squad, and I'd still like to see Joe Max Moore working his way into this starting 11 for the United States as well.
In midfield, Armas wins the ball for Reyna. Reyna outside of the foot flick. Lewis back to Reyna. He's looking up the left side for Regi on the overlap. Playing it quickly ahead for Lewis, too far ahead, and Estrada is onto it. The series history between these two teams, they have played 12 times. The United States, 6 wins, 4 losses, and 2 ties. Last time the U.S. won was on the 11th of March in 1999. That was in the U.S. Cup. And in that game, the U.S. played it directly into the middle of the Guatemalan box often, and McBride was outstanding in the air, winning the vast majority of his chances. If Razov can fulfill that kind of role for the U.S. today, it should start its World Cup qualifying in fine fashion. Now down the wing, it's Razov trying to look for Kobe Jones. Tackled hard, and the ball goes out and off Razov. It'll be a goal kick.
Razov claiming he was fouled as well. He thought he had turned the corner and was looking up, attempting to cross. But when you play away from home in a World Cup qualifier, you're not going to get too many calls like that.
Oh, there's a bad ball off Estrada, trying to play a short ball for Valencia. and the U.S. gets a throw in. Bruce Arena made no bones about it. He said that the U.S. national team has better athletes than Guatemala, is more athletic, and should be able to press the attack. He thinks that Guatemala is going to play a lot of men behind the ball, as they are here, in a defensive posture, and then go for a long counterattack against the U.S. Cabrera clearing it out. Now in midfield, Funes overruns the ball, and Pope wins it. Sane. Reina trying to get it loose right side. Valencia intercepts. Valencia into the middle. Now it comes back to Benitez, who's a defensive midfielder. Rodas feeding it forward and boomed down. Here's Miranda, number 3, who plays well back of the other 2 defenders.
Well, that's all part of the plan by Guatemala, to not give anything up and hopefully look for a quick counter or even a set play to come up with a goal.
We'd like to thank Budweiser and all of our U.S. soccer sponsors for allowing us to bring you today's game without interruption. David Regi over on the wing, and Ruano goes down. He's fouled. Funes will take the free kick.
Well, in '96, these 2 teams met in a World Cup qualifier, and there was brutal physical play by the Guatemalans on the U.S. players. In fact, Tab Ramos had to leave the game because of an injury, and Joe Max Moore as well. Now, this time around, it appears Guatemala is trying to play more soccer. In fact, the U.S. have been the aggressors in many of the physical contests.
Juan Carlos Plata to take the free kick off of Lewis's foul. It deflects into the middle, headed clear. Guatemala sets up again around the perimeter. Jones coming back to help out defensively. Long blast by Plata deflects out. It'll be a corner kick for Guatemala. Armas getting in the way.
Chris Armas, a member of Major League Soccer's best 11 in 1999. Midfielder for the Chicago Fire. Easily could have been an offside call. Instead, it will be a corner kick.
You see the field littered with paper thrown on by the fans in Mazatenango. A short corner. And now the cross blocked again and out for yet another corner for Guatemala. Robin Fraser back to health after spraining an ankle during the early part of the MLS season.
Fraser, the defender of the year in Major League Soccer in '99.
Juan Manuel Funes, the captain, into the middle. Fraser's there. Clears it out to the perimeter again. It's Ruano setting up. Plays it forward for Plata. Rojas. Ruano. Lewis going out to give him pressure. Ruano up the wing. Looking for Rodas. It'll be a throw-in. And Funes over to take it.
Well, for the United States, on Friday night in their hotel, 2 separate power outages. Only about 20 minutes each in duration, thank heavens. And also last night, the radio stations in Guatemala announcing the location of the U.S. hotel, and many parties taking place right out in front.
Ruano's long throw right into the box. Pope volleys it clear. A foot race for it, and it is Cabrera, the defender. All the way back to Miranda. Long ball up into the middle. Sane pops it up. Fraser tries to head it clear. Guatemala with a little bit of possession here. Trying to turn it into the middle. All the way through the 6-yard box. Nobody home. Clearing it high and wide. The U.S. trying to take a little bit of pressure off as we're here in the 12th minute. A reminder, soccer Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, the LA Galaxy against the Tampa Bay Mutiny coming up next weekend.
The best chance so far for Guatemala. Casey Keller would not have had much of a chance had that diving header connected out in front of him. The United States has had the very best chance to score in this game. The Eddie Pope header off a corner kick. Guatemala coming very close there.
Valencia, the midfielder, has dropped to the back line. Now he sends it up ahead for Funes. The captain working against Tony Sane. Sane tackling the ball away, winning it, and sending it up the sideline. Good play by Sane. Funes down, and Archundia calling the foul.
Not so sure if there was any foul contact there, as we see Sane Sane taking the ball there. Now, unless he was using his arms to shove as well, which we couldn't see in that replay, the fact is he tackled the ball. Funes now off balance. I see no foul there. If anything, it's dangerous play on Funes for trying to cover the ball with his body as he fell. Another look at the foul. Maybe some very slight contact by Sane's left foot on the ankle of Funes.
In midfield, Kobe Jones winning it down. Gets it to Fraser. Fraser up the right side looking for Jones. He turns the corner, tries to flick it near post, and Cabrera is on it.
Good exhibition there of Kobe Jones's tremendous balance. He's got that incredible acceleration and speed and ruggedness. But the fact is, even when a defender makes contact with him, he's able to keep his feet and turn the corner.
Fraser, or rather Regi, the bicycle clear. Razov popping it up. Reyna settles it down. Reyna has Stewart on the right side. Gets clipped from behind. Play on. You have to make those adjustments and assume that you're not going to get a lot of good calls.
Well, Reyna initially had made a real nice move to get past Benitez. Benitez recovering well, though, and making a fair tackle.
Reyna out onto the wing, looking for Regi on the overlap. Ruano intercepts. Ruano, long ball into the middle, but nobody making a run on the opposite side. And again, an indication that Guatemala is most concerned about playing defensively and then looking for the run secondarily.
Well, it's obvious that Guatemala is not committing numbers, white shirts, into the attack.
Lewis, a through ball for Razov. Razov has Jones middle, turns, tackled away nicely. Cabrera doing a good job there. Now a long ball up the right side, and Fraser turns it outside easily for the U.S. Fraser for Eddie Pope. Now here comes Sane. Stewart back to Sane. And now Reyna looks around. Sees Stewart. Little one-touch passing with Razov. Back to Razov.
The boos and whistles coming every time the United States maintains possession.
It's Armas. He has Sane on the right. You see Jones making the run toward the top of the 18. Sane tries the 1-2, gets it back, takes the dribbling move, goes all the way corner, tries the centering pass. It deflects to Jones. Jones setting up, volleying it across the middle. Cabrera steps up. Razov gets in his way. Guatemala trouble with the clear, but now controls. Regi knocking it down on the wing. And we get a foul as Reyna gets chopped and a yellow card. That's against Herman Ruano.
Ruano effectively playing right back for Guatemala. He was listed as the right midfielder. We've already seen him in physical confrontations with Ante Razov. This one, well after Claudio Reyna had released the pass, Ruano piles into the back of his ankles and earned the yellow.
Amarilla. Yes, we remind you that we are taking a feed from Guatemala in which the native language is Spanish. It's a yellow card. Off the free kick, headed out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick for Guatemala.
Eddie Pope getting his head to that one. In fact, I thought after it was off of Pope's head, it hit a Guatemalan defender. The call not made that way.
This portion of the match is brought to you by Chevrolet. Alongside Ty Keogh, I'm Jack Edwards. We are bringing you as best we can this game taking place in Mazatenango, Guatemala. Guatemala in white, the U.S. in red. This is the first game of World Cup qualifying for the U.S. in a 4-team group. Here's a bad misplay, and Keller has to race onto it to save the day. Terrible miscommunication with the U.S. back line and an emergency that Keller manages.
I think it's
put the flyer out.
More just a question of Keller taking his eye off the ball. It's an okay ball from Robin Fraser, perhaps hit a little bit too far to Keller's right, perhaps a little bit too much pace on it, but you don't want to take pace off of it because then it's even closer to the Guatemalan attacker putting the pressure on Keller. Keller did recover nicely. He was not completely panicking, but a scare at the back for the United States and an uncharacteristic mental error by Casey Keller. I didn't see a bad hop there. I think he just took his eye off the ball because of good pressure from the Guatemalan forward.
But no damage done. Here's Claudio Reyna setting up the U.S. offense again. Makes the dribbling move. Beats 3 men out to the right side for Kobe Jones. Jones attracting a lot of attention, and it's a corner kick for the U.S.
Well, Bruce Arena told us he's a little bit concerned about a nervousness perhaps in a player like Ante Razov, who's not played games at this level with this high of stakes. Kobe Jones certainly not among that group of players, but he also was concerned about Eddie Lewis and Tony Sane, especially because Tony Sane has to mark number 19, Valencia.
Lewis's corner kick. Everybody up once again. Jones chips it back to the other post. It's offside on the U.S. Archundia appears to be in control of this match at this point.
Another good chance for the United States, again on a high ball into the box. It may have been Razov in the offside position.
Fraser plays it back, and Keller knocking it out of bounds. The U.S. looking a little disorganized back there. That's not what they want.
Well, the United States without a few players due to injury. We mentioned McBride and Joe Max Moore. Jeff Agus out with a knee surgery. Ben Olsen also out with an ankle problem. Carlos Llamosa not ready to be a part of the U.S. squad due to injury.
Now a hold called as Sane got the hands on Fabricio Benitez.
This foul on the upper body as Benitez tried to turn the corner on Sane. Sane holding him. You see him holding him with both hands on the right shoulder. And a little forearm to go with it.
On the free kick, it's well over the top. I don't know if that was a far post cross attempt or a shot right on, but it didn't work.
Well, for Guatemala, in their starting lineup, 6 players from the same club team, Comunicaciones. So that gives them some cohesiveness built straight into the lineup.
And Valencia, Funes, and Rodas, 3 of their 5 midfielders, all from that same club. So they do communicate well, no pun intended. Benitez playing it back. This is Valencia, who had the free kick just moments ago. Funes playing it back. A little bit ragged here for Guatemala, and on comes Reyna. He gets tripped again.
Again, you saw 4 or 5 red shirts pushing into Guatemala's half of the field, forcing the issue. The United States definitely in this game to win it. And Reyna about to seize the advantage at midfield there, just clipped at the last second. It would have been about a 4 against 3 for the United States there, so that's a tactical foul that stopped the United States attack.
93 degrees. It's 11:30 in the morning in Mazatenango, and you can see from the shadows the sun is directly overhead the players. Setting up the wall, which is about 24 yards from goal. Razov's long blast and a save by Estrada. Ante Razov letting rip from 34 yards.
Some real sting on this shot by Razov, the left footer, through a maze of players, which makes this an even better save by Estrada. The fact that he was able to track the ball through so much traffic, extend his body, and keep the ball out.
So here's the U.S. corner. Again, the U.S. strong in the air, but this comes out off an American player, so it's a Guatemala goal kick. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allstate. Have you ever seen a happy goalkeeper, Ty?
Only when the final whistle sounds and he's got a shutout. That was big-time goalkeeping by Edgar Estrada. Very impressed with Razov's confidence on that long-range strike. He loves that left foot, and he showed it there.
Well, Bruce Arena was saying that some of the less experienced players, such as Razov, maybe Eddie Lewis, it would be important to see how they played in the first few minutes. Their first few touches could determine how they approach this game mentally. Loose in the box, and across comes Sane to clear it out. Armas up ahead. Alongside Ty Keogh, I'm Jack Edwards. This is the U.S.'s first World Cup qualifying game toward Korea and Japan in the 2002 World Cup Finals, playing at Mazatenango, Guatemala. Kobe Jones with a shift move on the right side. Now it goes to the far post. It's over everybody. Regis coming up from the back line. Volleyed out. It's a foul called against Guatemala, and the U.S. will set up another free kick opportunity.
Reyna will orchestrate this free kick. The United States trying to establish some high pressure in Guatemala's end of the field by pushing the backs forward. You saw Regis, how far he got up on that left side just a moment ago. We've seen Tony Sane going on the right.
Guatemala clears it out. Now, this game could have been played in Guatemala City, but for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is to inconvenience the United States, the game's been moved to Mazatenango. Guatemala City on this day, as you can see, much more hospitable for running for 90 minutes, 12 degrees cooler Fahrenheit.
And about 5,000 feet higher in elevation.
In the 24th minute here, Guatemala now working it up the right side. Ruano into the middle. Plata making a run. Armas takes it away and feeds Reyna immediately. Jones drops it off for Eddie Lewis. Lewis pushing it forward without much opposition, makes the dribbling move. Now Jones attempting the cross. It's blocked down. And Cabrera takes it away. And now Benitez, a long one up the right side looking for Ruiz.
Well, there you see the importance of the speed at the back for the United States with Eddie Pope and Robin Fraser, who made that big play there. Because Guatemala is going to defend with a lot of players, but they're going to go forward very quickly and at times try and play balls through, in behind the U.S. back four, or over the top of them. And the recovery speed, Bruce Arena is counting on that because the United States is pushing so many players forward into the attack. When that counterattack comes, you have to have guys that can chase that ball down and win the race to it.
It's Reyna switching the point of attack. Regis chips it into the box. Jones, short header for Lewis, chests it down, brings it back out to Regis. Pops it up for Jones. He gets bumped on the way up. Razov trying to close on the ball. Swisher knocking it wide. Check it, it's Valencia on the ball. Valencia into the middle of the back third of the field. Not always the wisest move for a defender. If that pass fails, it's an immediate scoring opportunity for the opposition. Guatemala just boots it down to take the pressure off.
Well, not too many ideas behind the Guatemalan attack. It's just the long ball over the top and hope someone can outrace a U.S. defender. Hasn't happened so far. Their best chance came from the right corner on a cross that Keller couldn't snag.
And Arena is ultimately confident in his back four, especially his central defenders, Fraser and Pope. Jones trying to run it down in the left wing corner. And again, Guatemala looking for the clear. Stepping forward to win the ball, Eddie Pope. Anticipating the pass. And now here's Jones playing it short, looking for something through the seam. And it'll be a U.S. throw-in.
It's good to see Eddie Pope stepping up, winning the ball at midfield. Eddie Pope has not had a good season with DC United. In fact, he's at the center of the worst defense by far in Major League Soccer, but he has not been healthy the entire time.
Across looking for Stewart. Pop-up header by Rodas. All the way to the outside, and Fraser distributes to Sane. Sane's very fast. Can he turn the corner? Gets into the box, gets taken down. And no call. Play on. Remarkable. I thought there had to be some kind of a call somewhere on that. Sane had his man beaten. U.S. back on the attack. An American player down in pain, make it 2, as the Guatemalans are making no bones about going in and fouling hard.
Well, Razov just got stepped on in this situation. This was the foul that was called a moment before this, and it's a late challenge. Razov barely getting his weight off of his feet, otherwise he could have been injured seriously. But just before that, Tony Sane in the one-on-one in the box. Definite contact in the box, no call. This is the foul that was called later, and Razov had slipped the ball already to Ernie Stewart before his legs got taken out. But in the back of the referee's mind, Archundia, the Mexican, he has to know that there was a penalty that could have been called there for the United States on Sané's one-on-one move, and perhaps the next contact in the box could result in a penalty for the United States. Referees very hesitant when the stakes are so high to give penalties.
That second man down is Eddie Lewis, and it appeared that he was reaching to his shoulder. Now, he had a shoulder injury right at the end of the English season. He plays, his club team is Fulham in England, and he separated the shoulder, actually tore his rotator cuff. He was struggling with that injury even last month in the U.S. Cup, and now is being carried off. This is not good news for the U.S. If you're wondering, by the way, you get a maximum of 3 substitutions in a World Cup match, in a World Cup qualifying match as this is.
A game. Eddie Lewis there going in, contesting for the ball. Looks like his right arm and right shoulder piling into the knee of the Guatemalan who was playing through very aggressively. That'll be a big loss for the United States. Lewis's cross is so dangerous from the left side for them.
A shot right on. Here's Jones. Can't run onto the bouncing ball, and again, Estrada covers it. He has had a lot of action here in the first half hour.
Well, the options, if Eddie Lewis cannot return to action, you have a Tab Ramos, a surprise late addition to the U.S. squad for World Cup qualifying because of his experience.
This portion of the match is brought to you by Texaco. Excuse me, by Machon. Here's Valencia trying to make a move on Sané. Valencia, a little 1-2 combination with Plata, and Sané recovers it nicely.
I've yet to see Guatemala commit more than 3 players into the attack. The United States, though, has attacked with 7, 8 players at a time.
Razov to Armas to Ernie Stewart, who has switched sides of the field. Lewis, normally the left side midfielder, and now Stewart has gone over there. Program reminder, the U.S. continues its World Cup qualifying next Sunday at 1 Eastern Time on ESPN2 at Costa Rica. Well, there is Eddie Lewis back on the field. And again, we are not in control of the feed coming out of Guatemala, so we were only as aware as you were of Eddie Lewis's renewed presence. The referee has to allow him to come back on the field after he receives medical attention. All right, here's Sané. Big presence in the middle of the field now. And Razov going wide. Stewart cranking it across the middle. Jones pops it back in toward the keeper. And Estrada got run off it by his sweeper, Miranda. Now Valencia chipping into the center circle. Plata chests it down. Rodas touches it back for Valencia. It's all Guatemala can do, really, to get it out of its own half of the field. Foul against the U.S., and Guatemala will have the free kick.
Had Eddie Lewis not been able to return to action here, Bruce Arena probably would have gone to Frankie Hayduck. Not on the left side. You might have seen Kobe Jones appear on the left side, Frankie Hayduck on the right, and Ernie Stewart maybe go up at forward with Ante Razov, or even Stewart go to the left side. But it looks like Eddie Lewis is good to go.
Here's Valencia running right at Sané. Valencia elects to come across the field, and Lewis takes it easily. There was speculation that Sané, who's still settling into that right back position, would see a lot of challenges. Here's Benitez trying to feed it through, and again, Sané stepping up. So Sané has answered every challenge so far today.
In fact, he earned what should have been a penalty for the United States.
Long cross, and again, Sané wins this ball. 17 in red, playing himself a fine game.
Jack, do you find it interesting that that controversial play on which Sané was taken down in the box was never shown again on the Guatemalan feed?
And no coincidence. Swisher up the left side for Valencia. And now here's Benitez. Rodas. Swisher. Cabrera. Cabrera cranking it up the right side. Regi comes back, flicking it clear to Armas. Here's the captain, Claudio Reyna. He chips it up for Jones, lays it back for Armas. Armas pushes it right side for Stewart. Now here's Sane making an overlap run to put some pressure on the Guatemalan defense. Sane pushing it back around Armas. You can see the pace of the game already has slowed down here in the 33rd minute. The U.S. came out really forcing the pace. Both teams have taken it much slower. A little bit of miscommunication there and almost a chance for Ernie Stewart. We saw an emergency at the back of the American defense earlier when Robin Fraser miscommunicated with Casey Keller. Carlos Ruiz winning the ball in midfield for Guatemala. Now Rodas, and we get a foul. That's Funes. I'm still not sure, Ty, what the call is here. They seem to be walking toward Guatemala's end, so we will assume that it's against Guatemala.
Well, into the 34th minute of play here, the heat certainly a factor. Funes is going down injured, it appeared. Or at least momentarily.
You see the Guatemalan bench, and Coach Julio Cesar Cortez has selected a rather young squad. The U.S. has a clear edge in experience and has older players on the field for the most part. Although the oldest player in action today is Funes, the captain for Guatemala at 34. Stewart can't beat Swisher to the ball. Plata taken down by Armas in the center circle, and it looks as if Archundia is reaching to the pocket. Armas gets the yellow card in the 35th minute.
Armas gets the card not so much because it was a vicious foul, not even so much because it was from behind, but the fact is it cut short a Guatemalan counterattack. It's a deliberate foul in that he knows it's tactical in nature. It's what's called a professional foul. It allows the United States now to get all its players back and to defend with numbers.
Valencia, as you saw, Sane trying to force him to his left, to the outside, to the less dangerous area. When he comes inside, there's strength in numbers for the U.S. defense. That's good defensive play by Sane. Sane playing it across the middle of his own box, though, and that's not the smart play. Again, if that's intercepted, that's a beautiful goal-scoring opportunity for Guatemala. Pope playing it forward to Reyna. There's Armas, who just got the yellow card. And you see the graphics from the Guatemalan network. Regi getting it back from Lewis on the left side and playing it back around the perimeter. Sane has to run hard to keep this ball in bounds.
United States also very much on purpose playing with 4 across the back. And that is to guard against the counterattacks over the top.
This portion of the match brought to you by Tropicana. The U.S. with a long drive, but it's well wide.
David Regi trying to light one up with his right foot. Good approach play by the United States. The ball laid back very nicely for him to hit it, and he gets a lot of power behind it. It was sailing well wide and high.
There's Regi challenging. The ball comes down to Armas. Past Regi on the bounce. Now here's a chance for a counter. And Ruano going onto the right side for Ruiz. Ruiz makes the move. He's got a chance. The shot goes just wide. Ruano and Ruiz hooking up for the best opportunity of the game for Guatemala.
Well, it started with a nice 1-2 that Funes was involved in. Frazier loses his footing here. Ruiz has time to look up. Now he doesn't hit this ball well. You see it spinning, curling away because he doesn't strike the center of the ball. Keller reacted very well. Came close to touching that ball even though it was going wide. Keller might have saved that ball even had it been on target.
Rossoff lays it back for Regi. Regi with the return. Now brings it cross field. Looking for Stewart on the long run. And again, it's Benitez. Benitez back to Ruano. Benitez for Valencia. Rodas going up the wing, looking for Benitez, who's making the run. Stewart beating him to it. Back to Keller, who clears. Jones up for the header in midfield. Sane lets it run for Stewart.
So Guatemala so far with two very clear goal-scoring opportunities. The United States with a couple long-range shots, and also with the play, Tony Sane getting taken down in the box, no call.
Up the left side, it's Eddie Lewis. Lewis bringing it back. That's Armas making the run in midfield. Now it comes back to Reyna. Reyna can hold the ball with the best of them. Brings it back to Eddie Pope. Now Sane. Guatemala just dropping back on defense, really not even challenging the U.S. 40 yards from goal. Packing the box, putting a lot of bodies back there. Regi, Lewis tries to crank it across the middle. It's like shooting a bullet through a forest. It's going to hit one of the trees. Benitez, Plata, dropping it off. Cabrera, Rodas, and Guatemala has a little bit of possession here to get some wind back.
A clear chance for Guatemala just a moment ago. Keller there, cutting the angle well. And not missing it by much with his outstretched right hand. And Ruiz would like to have another look at that one because he should have put it away.
And it appears that during the replay that Rodas has picked up a yellow card. And again, Razov the target.
Very obvious shirt pulling by Jorge Rodas, a player that should be familiar to American soccer fans. Jorge Rodas, formerly of the San Jose Clash, who I now call the Equakes because they're in Silicon Valley. But Rodas, a very experienced midfielder.
Right on to Estrada, and he makes the save.
Another player in Major League Soccer from Guatemala, Martin Machon, having some problems with his federation about his availability. In fact, he may be fined for not reporting to the Guatemalan national team.
A reminder, coming up at halftime, the All-State halftime report. Right across the middle, and Keller watches it roll wide and out of bounds for the goal kick for the U.S. Well, Benitez again working it forward with Ruiz.
And Robin Fraser getting pulled out to that left side. Now the concern was at the right side of the U.S. defense, is Tony Sane really now an experienced right back at this level? The fact is, the most dangerous attacks by Guatemala have come down the other side, so it makes you wonder whether David Regi is really pulling his weight defensively.
Sane can't run it down. It's going to be a Guatemala throw-in. You see the stadium. It seats about 10,000. They were supposed to sell only about 9,000 tickets. Back in 1996, there was a terrible disturbance, a melee. Some called it a soccer riot in Guatemala City. 84 people were crushed to death. And Guatemala has elected to play this game in a much smaller stadium, in part to force the U.S. into a very inconvenient itinerary, which required a 3.5-hour bus trip after flying into Guatemala City. Unlike some published reports, though, it was all on paved roads, 4-lane highway all the way until about 45 minutes from Mazatenango, where it turned into a 2-lane paved road. U.S. working in the box. Lewis cranking it across, looking for Razov. Can't quite get it high enough so he can play it. And Plata, who is a forward all the way back here, feeding it back for Rodas.
United States right now caught with a lot of red shirts upfield. You don't want to give a goal up in the closing minutes of the half for psychological reasons.
Pope makes a nice tackle and then gets chopped down in midfield, and that's going to be Valencia getting booked in the 42nd minute. 3 yellow cards against Guatemala here.
Pope shielding the ball, and very clear that Valencia is coming in with a scissors tackle, trying to wrap both legs around the ankles of Eddie Pope. Pope managed to avoid serious injury, but he's feeling it.
wins the ball and then pays the price.
Yeah, Valencia on the follow-through did not make any attempt to shorten up that swipe at the ball when he saw that he was nowhere near it. El Pocho Cortez, this is his game plan, basically, to go 0-0 as long as possible and see if he can't steal a goal late.
Kobe Jones makes the move around the right side. He's got a chance. Centers it looking for Lewis, who was crashing. Now here comes Razov to keep it alive. Sane cranking it across the top of the penalty arc. Armas wins it in midfield, gets taken down immediately after making the pass. They say play on as the U.S. has possession and the advantage. A couple of minutes to go in the first half here, and again, the U.S. starting to pick up the pace. Sane working it with Armas. Armas pushing it forward and taken away. Rodas dropping it off for Swisher.
Well, Chris Armas needs to play quicker in the attack there. He was a little bit lackadaisical in possession there and lost an opportunity for the United States to get a goal on the board before the half.
Ruano and Ruiz, who hooked up earlier, trying to work something. This is Ruiz with the step-over move. He beat Fraser earlier in the game. Fraser not giving much ground. Ruiz working toward the corner. Fraser winning the ball. Good job by Robin Fraser on defense, atoning for the earlier moment when he was cleanly beaten.
Well, number 9 for Guatemala, Ruiz, they call him El Pescadito, the little fish, because he flops around quite a bit. He's difficult to pin down. And he was a revelation for Guatemala at the under-23, the Olympic qualifying tournament this past spring. Very quick on the dribble, very confident as we saw as he took on Robin Fraser, although in the end Fraser prevailed in that last instance.
Sane trying the one-on-one move against Benitez and elects to play it safe to Fraser, to Pope. Pope across to Regis. He's got a lot of speed. If you give him some space, he'll take advantage of it. Regis moving against Funes, playing it down into the corner for Lewis. Lewis running onto it hard. It comes off him for the goal kick. A reminder that the Kart Molson Indy Race comes your way from Toronto today at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ESPN. That's Bruce Arena, whose U.S. squad is opening its 6-game series, trying to finish in the top 2 of its 4-team group to advance to the next round of World Cup qualifying. Eventually, just 32 teams will travel to Japan and Korea in June of 2002.
And that next round would involve 10 games. So 16 games to prove that you belong at the 2002 World Cup.
Sane working it toward the middle. Now Jones, who has dropped back into this midfield position in this part of the game. Reyna forward for Stewart, gets it right back. Reyna looking in for Razov. He's got the big left. The shot scores! Ante Razov in the closing moments of the first half.
Stoppage time goal for Ante Razov. In the second I saw that ball get to Razov's left foot, you knew there was an 80% chance of a goal scoring. And Razov puts it away. He loves the left foot. Reyna delivers the ball perfectly into the stride of Razov onto his left foot on purpose. Razov rides one tackle, rips the ball past another defender. In fact, I believe it deflected off that second defender who tried to come in and block the ball, leaving no chance for Edgar Estrada as Swisher, number 4, deflected the ball into his own net. It may have been going in anyway. Razov is deadly with his left foot from that range, and what a nice feed from Claudio Reyna.
Pretty work between Reyna and Stewart, actually playing a couple of short balls to create that space, and we have arrived at halftime. The United States with a goal in stoppage time from Ante Razov, who's in there only as a replacement for the injured Brian McBride, and the U.S. is halfway to 3 points in its qualifying opener. One another from now until the middle of November, and the 2 top teams will advance to the next round of qualifying. That will be a 6-team group, and they'll play 5 series of home and home games. So 6 games in this series, and if the U.S. advances, and everyone is expecting it to, there would be a total of 16 games played to get the U.S. to qualify for those 3 regional berths into the final field of 32 at the 2002 World Cup.
On paper, in this current qualifying group, everyone expects the United States and Costa Rica to move on into that group of 6, of which 3 will go to the 2002 World Cup.
And a reminder, we bring you that Costa Rica game next week, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. The U.S. wearing the red, attacking right to left in the second half. And we thank Texaco and all of our U.S. soccer sponsors for bringing us this game without interruption. We have Garcia in the game for Funes. A long volley goes well wide of Keller.
Well, Freddy Garcia has come into the game, another one of the young attacking players for Guatemala who will bring some offense. And here's the goal in stoppage time of the first half. Ante Razov sidestep one defender, Miranda, and then deflects it off the other defender, Swisher, on the left-footed drive. And the setup coming from Claudio Reyna after working a nice combination with Ernie Stewart.
Freddy Garcia, a creative offensive player, the substitute coming on for Guatemala, had undisclosed family problems that caused him not to be with the Guatemalan side for a while. But he is back with the team now, and they desperately need his talents.
Remember, Funes, the oldest player on the field, maybe only had the legs to go a half. They're looking for more offense, a young dribbler in Freddy Garcia, a guy who showed very well also in Olympic qualifying for Guatemala in the under-23 competition held this spring. 93
degrees, 93% humidity, a trip called against the U.S. here, and Guatemala gets the free kick. And remember, it's 25 feet below sea level.
Eddie Pope stepping in, missing the ball, tangling up a little bit, maybe holding the shirt a bit as well.
Here's Rodas. Rodas cranking from 30. Easy stop for Keller. He saw it all the way.
Rodas possesses a very strong long-range shot with that right foot in particular. We saw Freddy Garcia already on the dribble helping get the ball to Rodas, making a difference.
Reggie up for Eddie Lewis. He's got a lot of space on the left side. Lewis curls it, and it gets blocked back outside the box. Lewis lays it off for Armas. Here's Ernie Stewart. Stewart chipping it into the box. Razov, the target man, he can't get up for it. Ernie Stewart doesn't like to fly. It's one of the reasons that he plays in Holland. There's a 2.5-hour flight here to Mazatenango from the Fort Lauderdale training site. And the U.S. is going to return tonight, should be back by midnight, back in the States.
Ernie Stewart staying mostly out on the right side of midfield. We've not seen him come into the center that much, but he's become very effective switching places with Kobe Jones in the setup for the United States. And Kobe Jones scoring a lot of goals for the national team, already 5 this season for the United States this calendar year, the year 2000. And Ernie Stewart, with a goal-scoring streak in March, helped lead his Dutch club team, NAC Breda, back into the Dutch Honor Division, their top-flight league.
Flick-on header. Eddie Pope holding his arms wide as if to say, I didn't foul the man who's down. Ruiz hitting the turf, not getting the benefit of a call from Archundia, the referee.
And Ruiz involved in the 2 most dangerous attacking situations in the first half.
Here's Lewis on the goal left side. Across the middle for Jones. Knocked out of there. A good play coming back. It was Cabrera taking the ball out of play. So a corner for the U.S.
Eddie Lewis running strong down that left side. We had a scare early in the first half when it appeared he may have re-injured his shoulder.
Estados Unidos. Va a pegar a la pelota Reina. Aquí está en el
Claudio Reyna will take the corner. You see his shadow straight down. And all kinds of debris being thrown toward Reyna, who is a veteran of international play and knows to expect that kind of treatment. Estrada pokes it over the top. Jones brings it back outside. The volley by Stewart blocked all the way to the U.S. side of midfield. And Keller comes wandering 30 yards off his line to send it forward. Beautiful play, and Sana now tries to feed Jones. That doesn't quite work. Keller was almost in position to pick up an assist on the long clear. It's also an indication of how few men Guatemala is forcing forward.
Well, what becomes critical for the United States, obviously you can't afford a mistake at the back, but just as important is to hold the ball. That conserves the energy. They're playing in the jungle below sea level, in the valley of death. This game moved to Mazatenango expressly to slow down the United States' athleticism, bringing it to higher temperatures and higher humidity.
Contact on the far side between Kobe Jones and Cabrera, and Jones gets called for the push.
Jones always scrapping, always battling, taking the inside track. They're not playing the ball, obviously playing the man, Cabrera, one of the marking backs in this 3-5-2 setup for Guatemala. That's a little payback. The Guatemalans were dishing out a lot of punishment in the first half of play, enough to earn 3 yellow cards.
Ruano up the right side. Lewis back defending against Benitez. And he knocks it out of bounds. Now, we've said to you that we've been picking up the Guatemalan feed. We just technically have been able to establish our own feed from Guatemala. And now the Guatemalans on the attacking. Long shot goes well wide of Keller.
Jorge Rodas again with his right foot, trying his luck from long range. This time, though, he's well over the bar. The ball rolling back nicely to him, and Keller knew all along from the way Rodas approached that ball that it was going to go well over the bar, out of danger.
Stewart challenging for the head ball in midfield. Reyna appealing for a call and getting it. And the U.S. will have the free kick.
Another challenge from behind by Cabrera. Stewart dumped to the turf. Bruce Arena on the left. Dave Sarakan on the right, his assistant. Sarakan has been very busy the last couple of months scouting not only Guatemala but also Costa Rica.
Volley into the middle. Guatemala settling it. Miranda trying to clear a long blast, not well struck, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Armas not known for his shooting prowess. His main role in this U.S. team to confound the opposition and win balls and feed them to Claudio Reyna mainly.
In 13 previous opening road qualifiers, the United States has won just twice. 2 wins, 8 losses, and 3 ties. The U.S. here in the 53rd minute at Guatemala in its World Cup qualifying opener with a 1-0 lead on Ante Razov's goal. Miranda feeding it forward. Plata in traffic, flicking it right side, looking for Ruano. Ruano volleys it back into the box. Pope heads it out of the box. Long volley goes well wide.
Well, the United States almost paying there due to a lack of quality on the clearance by the Eddie Pope header. Pope still not playing with full confidence. A lot of injury problems and a very bad year with DC United of Major League Soccer. And as we look at the U.S. squad today, there's that chance. Pope's clearance with the header not good enough. Another long-range attempt by Guatemala. But in the USA's starting 11, 5 of the players from Major League Soccer.
This portion of the match brought to you by Budweiser. Ernie Stewart running Valencia off the ball, but giving up a corner kick, and you hear the reaction of the crowd in Mazatenango. It'll be Freddy Garcia over to take the corner. Garcia coming into the game for the captain, Funes, at halftime. Sane calling out the defensive assignment. Eddie Lewis getting it clear to Reyna, who heads it farther out. Should be an offside call coming against Guatemala. That's Ruiz, who is still inside the box with everyone else charging out.
Ruiz very tricky on the dribble, as is Freddy Garcia. The United States is not out of danger yet. Keller among the best goalkeepers in Europe. I think with Rayo Vallecano in Spain.
Working it with Rodas, trying a long through ball for Ruiz. And Keller is on it. Keller's punt carries 80 yards downfield. Kobe Jones out in the corner. Jones, who has more international appearances than any American player in history, all the way across the box. Too strong for Ante Razov. And it'll be Valencia taking it back.
Valencia, a player that the United States feared. Bruce Arena took great care to alert his team to Valencia's danger on that left side of midfield for Guatemala, but he's been back defending a lot on that left side, which is a tribute to the United States being able to keep the ball in Guatemala's end.
Kobe Jones, where he's so comfortable out on the wing, giving it back to Reyna, and Reyna moves it all the way back. Eddie Pope sending it right side. Sane. He has those big loping strides, and when he gets ahead of steam, he can blow right through any unsuspecting defense. There's Reyna trying to pass to Lewis at the penalty arc. He gets taken down. Play on. U.S. keeps possession. Here's Sane on the right side. Tries the move and manages to procure a corner for the U.S. No, apparently the call is going to be a goal kick for Guatemala.
I think it hit Tony Sane again on the way out. But the United States has one advantage in this game. These MLS players, 5 of the 11 starters, are in mid-season form for El Salvador. And in fact, for every team still in qualifying in our region of CONCACAF, except for the United States and Trinidad, it's the off-season.
On the right side, it's Valencia trying to get something going. Ruano now wearing the captain's armband, taken down. Regis protesting the call.
Well, Ruano, the next oldest player on the field at 33. That hurts a little bit more when you're 33 than when you're 23. Regis did not go up for the ball, so the foul called against him. He has to at least attempt to play the ball.
Benitez stacking in the 6-yard box. Good opportunity for Guatemala here to tie it up. Going to the far post. Guatemala has not taken advantage of its free kick opportunities. A couple of really weak serves, not even getting the ball in play.
It's an in-swinger from Freddy Garcia. Now, Ante Razov, a forward, who's marking up at the back post for the United States, almost let his man slip away from him, but the ball not delivered accurately, as you pointed out, Jack.
There's Razov winning the ball up in midfield. Jones battling after it. Plata wins it down, but it comes off to Reyna of the U.S. Reyna looking up the right side, but Razov is offside by about a step.
Razov at 6'1" has been dominant in the air, but not to the same degree that the guy, Brian McBride, that he's taking his place.
You can see dozens of out-of-market matches if you have the MLS ESPN shootout. For details, call your cable company, DirecTV, or the Dish Network. Here's Rodas bringing it out of his own end. And an offside called on Guatemala. And more debris being thrown in the direction of the referee's assistant.
Well, things will only get uglier. The Guatemalan people take a great deal of pride in their soccer and in their team. And the United States is the most powerful country in the world. It's a real comfort to a lot of countries that maybe they could beat them on the soccer field. But that has changed over the last 10, 12 years. In fact, Guatemala has not beaten the United States since 1988.
Yet the U.S. has had very little success winning on the road in Central America. Lewis with a nice turn. Here comes Regis. Regis tries to move inside. Hard contact, but it was in fair play. And now Guatemala working it out again. Ruiz at midfield. Tries the give and go, and there's the strength of the U.S. back four. Pope turning it to the outside, but he gives it away. Plata with a chance from 30. It's well wide. Freddie Garcia working some midfield combinations.
Well, Pope coming out to defend this shot. Not a lot on the shot. Keller saw it all the way. But the fact is, again, it was Eddie Pope with a lack of quality on playing the ball out of the back. Previously, it was a clearance that really didn't make it out far enough. This time, a loss of possession in the U.S.'s half of the field.
Kobe Jones gets a leg up. Play on as Guatemala has the advantage. Ruiz chasing it into the corner. And it comes off Regis for a corner kick. The man down is Rodas. I think he caught one right in the schnoz. Might have been Jones's knee.
Jones here collecting the ball. The high boot, no question. Dangerous play by Kobe Jones. And Kobe's defense, I don't believe he saw Rodas to the last second. Didn't expect him to stick his head straight in near Jones's boot. An MLS veteran, an ex-player for San Jose, Jorge Rodas. Watch his right foot. He's unleashed a couple already.
The corner headed down and out. Reyna heading it out at the 18. And the U.S. clears it.
You'll see the United States now committing fewer red shirts into the Guatemala half of the field as they defend this lead.
Jones trying to get away from Ruano. Fires it across. Oh, misplay by Sane. Here's a chance for Plata. Sending it into the middle. Pope back to rescue his teammate. Plata against Sane again. Taken away. Reyna.
That was Ante Razov way back making a defensive play. Ernie Stewart playing almost as the lone forward for the United States right now.
Reyna tripping it ahead for Stewart, who's got a lot of speed to burn. He forces the ball outside, and Valencia has to play it out of bounds.
Frankie Hayduck and Tab Ramos on the sideline for the United States. Just loosening up a bit to give Bruce Arena his options for a change.
Hayduck could come in a variety of places. He's got tremendous speed, can be a great offensive force, but also can play defensively. Lewis with the move down the left wing. He has a handful of shirt, and it's going to be a holding call against Eddie Lewis in the 63rd minute. A little extra dissent, and Lewis gets a talking to.
Lewis may have been obstructed, at least initially, but the obvious foul there, the tugging on the shirt by Eddie Lewis, he can't really argue with that, but he may have been obstructed when he initially went for the ball.
Now here's Stewart trying to force it through the midfield. Great speed run. Has it tackled away.
I think that was Miranda, the sweeper, stepping up to make a big defensive play.
Ruiz on the right side. Trying to work against Armas. Comes square. Long drive. Saved by Keller. The rebound. Chipped to the far post. It goes off the backstay. That was trouble for the U.S. Guatemala forcing the attack here.
Well, good reactions from Keller. Long-range left-footed shot by Freddie Garcia. He's already made a difference in this game. Now, Keller doesn't hold the ball, nor does he steer it out of play for a corner. Look at the dip on this ball. Ball was loaded. It was knuckling. It's still in play. Regis hustling back to try and block a rebound. And Keller scrambling to get into position. It hits off of Regis' foot, putting that strange spin onto the ball and clearing the crossbar by just a couple of inches. So good stop by Keller, but you like to see him not give up the rebound.
And it was the sweeper Miranda who had the rebound opportunity, which is an indication of how hard Guatemala is trying to push forward and tie this thing up.
I thought that went off of Regis. Could have been a corner kick.
With Ty Keogh, I'm Jack Edwards. This is the first game of the U.S.'s World Cup qualifying in Mazatenango, Guatemala.
The goal, in fact, coming at stoppage time of the first half.
Ante Razov with a left-footed rocket. Here's Armas. Lays it off for Reyna. Armas getting chopped down. It'll be a U.S. free kick 21 yards from goal. And you can see Armas, the amateur referee, signaling he thought a yellow card was in order.
Well, because Armas got a yellow card himself for a similar play, a deliberate foul, when the U.S. was caught numbers down defensively. Now, this is where the U.S. really misses Joe Max Moore. He's deadly. I mean, it's maybe 50% goal from here with Joe Max Moore in the lineup, but still trying to come back from an injury which knocked him out of Everton's starting lineup after he had won a spot by scoring a ton of goals.
Razov again tries to hook it, and it dips just over the bar.
Well, Razov's left foot has already provided some magic today. The lone goal of the game, this time off the dead ball. He leans back slightly, but it had some bend, and it was coming down. Not a bad attempt by Ante Razov of the LA Galaxy. I take that back. Originally LA Galaxy, Chicago Fire. The champions in '98.
Reyna losing the ball on the hard tackle. Cabrera working hard. That's Mario Acevedo. He is going to be checking into the game when the referee admits him. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allstate. The U.S. appealing for a corner here, and will get it.
Ante Razov has used his physical style, his ability to shield the ball very well against smaller Guatemalan defenders in this game. Wins a corner kick here. He scored the goal because he was able to ride the tackle of Miranda after the pass from Claudio Reyna. He just muscled Miranda off the ball, got into shooting position.
Lewis curls the outswinger. And it'll be a Guatemala throw-in. That is Dwight Pezzarosi. It is going to be Mario Acevedo, the substitute coming into the game.
Acevedo also a forward, joining Freddy Garcia and Carlos Ruiz. Guatemala going for broke.
Fabricio Benitez, the defensive midfielder, comes out.
So two central midfielders off and two very attacking-minded forwards on for Guatemala.
Plenty of time left here. Garcia sending the ball all the way through. Keller with a lot more action here in the second half than he had in the first. Razov tries to fend off the defender, but then loses to Cabrera. Cabrera starts the counterattack quickly for Guatemala. Now a lot of men running forward of the ball for Guatemala as they go for the equalizer. Another long shot. That's not going to beat Keller.
Keller's powers of concentration, his focus, among his best qualities. He's rarely caught by surprise. He knew this was coming all the way in.
Lewis gets chopped down in midfield. It'll be a U.S. restart.
You see the United States take their time on every set play, throw in, goal kick, free kick. The time and the heat really on their side at this point. They should not have to expend as much energy as Guatemala, who's trying to tie this game.
There's Razov, the goal scorer. Reyna's serve, looking for Razov. He flicks it on, and Estrada is out to grab it. In midfield, Claudio Reyna with a man right on his back, grabbing at him. Reyna fends him off. Lewis has Reyna forward, sees him, and they attack the space. Now to the corner. Reyna tries to angle it back.
A little bit better quality ball from Eddie Lewis into that little space that presented itself for Claudio Reyna. Would have created a very clear goal-scoring chance. Reyna had to chase it too far towards the end line.
Rodas with the long ball. Long, hard run down there for Fraser. Keller saves it from being a corner kick, and it'll be a throw-in for Guatemala. There is an 8-foot-high cyclone fence that surrounds the field, and then there is an additional 4 feet of barbed wire on top of that. Yet debris, as you can see, continues to rain down all over the field.
And reportedly over 10,000 spectators at a stadium designed to hold about 9,000. In fact, they're only going to sell about 9,500 tickets.
And here's a chance for Rwano. Chips it into the box. The header snapped well wide of Keller's cage.
Well, that's a bad sign there. Plata, number 15, wide open in the center of the penalty area of the United States. You got to have tighter marking than this. Robin Fraser coming over late. I think Fraser may have been expecting the U.S. team to step out in an offside trap. We see Guatemala pressing the issue as they look for the equalizer. Out shooting the U.S. 10-2 in the second half, albeit several of those of the long-range variety with not a whole lot on them.
This portion of the match is brought to you by Machon.
But Fraser stepping out. The other U.S. defenders, Eddie Pope in particular in the center, staying back and marking, and Fraser leaving Juan Carlos Plata wide open out in front. He should have done better with that header.
Here's Kobe Jones bringing it back. Stewart. This is Regis. David Regis taking the space that's given to him. Trying to play a short combination with Razov, but not serving the ball well to him. And here is Acevedo, who came in as an offensive midfielder in a defensive posture here.
You have less than 20 minutes remaining. It would be an opportune time for the United States to make 1 or 2 substitutions or some fresh legs to help defend, close things down, and protect the lead.
Sane trying to turn it up from the corner, and again Guatemala takes possession in the forward third of the field. Hard contact and a free kick for Guatemala. Garcia taken down.
Tony Sane muscling Freddy Garcia here. Got the forearm up at Garcia's throat. The referee Archundia from Mexico right on top of things, making the correct call.
Out goes Juan Carlos Plata, and in comes Dwight Pesarozzi, the player you saw earlier warming up on the sideline just before Acevedo checked into the game. And there is Pesarozzi. Shot right in, deflects across the goal mouth, up and over. Ruiz down on his belly.
Carlos Ruiz has been dangerous the entire game. Number 9 for Guatemala. The ball dropping in. He's got a diving header. What Keller's claiming is that's a dangerous play. Anytime a player puts his head down that close to the foot of the opposition, he could be called, in fact, or an indirect kick going out on the dangerous play, because he's...
But it's a corner. Again loose in the goal mouth. Guatemala really pressing the U.S. here. 93 degrees, 93% humidity. And
probably higher by now, because those readings were taken more than a half hour before kickoff, which is 11 a.m. local time. So we're mid-afternoon now. And scrambles out in front of Casey Keller's goal. A double deflection. In fact, perhaps Chris Armas at that near post saving a goal. That's his job there, to guard that post.
Jones has position, and Cabrera is called for jumping in over the top.
Jones is bleeding. Jones getting, looks like just a hand or a finger above his eye. Or maybe the contact with the ground enough. You are not allowed to continue to play if you're still bleeding. Jones going to have to get cleaned up.
Well, Ernie Stewart headed toward the sideline. That's Frankie Haydock, who's going to be going in now for Ernie Stewart. As we said, Haydock can fill a variety of roles. Stewart had been playing the right side of midfield. Where do you think Haydock's going to end up?
That's an even exchange, both right-sided players, and speed for speed. The difference is Frankie Haydock much fresher, and Ernie Stewart at age 31 maybe doesn't have all the legs. Kobe just gets mauled here. And his face basically scraping along the turf.
Referee's assistant making sure that Jones is not bleeding badly, and he has been allowed to re-enter the game. Pesarosi, nice tackle on the left side by Regis, and Guatemala called for the foul. Past the 75-minute mark here. Eddie Pope coming off, and Greg Vanny coming on. So one Major League Soccer player replaces another.
Now this change, a little bit more unusual. You don't normally change your defense unless there's a real concern about the fitness of the player going off. And Eddie Pope has been fighting injuries all year long. He's not played as confidently as we're used to seeing out of a player who's been a stalwart for this U.S. national team over the last several years. Vanny has shown very well for the U.S. all during the year 2000. He also is very used to playing next to Robin Fraser in the central defense, as they are teammates with the LA Galaxy.
You hear the hostile crowd in Mazatenango. The U.S. team plays 3 home games in this qualifying series and needs American support. August 16th in Foxborough, September 3rd at RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C., and then in October in Columbus.
Robin Fraser defending in behind Greg Vanny. And there's a tug on the shirt. Now Ruiz makes a dive out of it. With Fraser getting away with something there. With Fraser and Vanny, a very strong tandem. Among the best central defensive units in Major League Soccer with the LA Galaxy.
Valencia up the sideline. Jones intercepts. It's Haydock, comes off of him and out of bounds, so it'll be a Guatemala throw-in. That's Ruano. You hear the crowd chanting for Guatemala. Fraser popping it up and then firing it out. Jones banged in midfield. Play on as Cabrera made contact. Valencia on the left side.
Well, these last 13 minutes or so will come down to mental toughness. You're losing one of your toughest guys in Kobe Jones, but he's put out a tremendous amount of effort and hustle thus far. And you're bringing in a player, Tam Ramos, who's among the best possession players that the United States has ever produced. He also has the ability to beat players on the dribble, and he potentially could come up with an insurance goal on a quick counterattack.
Guatemala trying to find the game-tying goal here. Ruiz couldn't set up the turnaround volley. Goes down with minimal contact from Razov, but gets the call.
Razov's got to play that just a little bit smarter. He barely touched him, but the minute he did, Ruiz looking for the call. It's just a smart play by the attacker. There is some contact there, not much, but when you're that close to your goal and you have a 1-0 lead, you have to defend with a little more patience than Razov showed there.
Keller calling out defensive assignments.
Razov's got to be tired, and that's affecting his mental concentration.
Short post in swinger, volleyed out for a corner kick for Guatemala. Chris Armas holding the short post. These players are laboring now. Off the post! And cleared out. You could hear it ring.
Guatemalans have been a bit unfortunate. They've had chances in this second half.
All the way into the middle, that's a handball. And a yellow card, should be. Ruiz.
Called for the deliberate handball, trying to deceive the referee to score a goal. Unsportsmanlike conduct. There's a chance just before that on the in-swinging corner. It looked like it deflected off of Robin Frazier. It would have been an own goal, in fact. It rings off the post. Keller had no chance for it. There's another look at it. Not sure who it deflected off of. But Casey Keller better get right over and kiss that back goalpost.
Volley looking forward for Freddie Garcia. Regis is back to defend, and he blasts it up the sideline.
So a far from convincing performance by the United States in the second half of play. In the first half, yeah, they took it to Guatemala. They had a lot of players forward into the attack and spent a lot of time in the Guatemalan end of the field. But here in the second half, they've failed to maintain possession enough.
Ruano wearing the captain's armband. Vanny heads it clear. Lewis can't track it down. Garcia volleys it all the way across. Keller stabs it in the 6-yard box. It's an offside. Reminder, the weekly show, an hour long each week, dedicated to Major League Soccer. Extra time comes your way, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, Mondays on ESPN2. And Alexi Lalas in the studio this week. Continuing in Mazatenango, the U.S. in red and Guatemala in white. This is the first of 6 qualifying games the U.S. will play in this round. Frankie Haydock down, holding his lower back.
Haydock trying to shield the ball as it bounced in, just piled into from behind. Still feeling it, rubbing the left side of his lower back.
See Reyna, every restart, taking his time. A little delay here, a little delay there. Might add up to about a minute of play overall. And the U.S. is just trying to bleed the clock in the final 10 minutes now. Looking for an opportunity. Looking for the insurance goal to put it away. Razov banging against Cabrera. Pezzarozzi contesting it with Regis.
This is where experience comes into play. Regis with experience in France, in the first division in Europe. Tab Ramos coming on, so much experience at the international level. Ruano will most likely get his second yellow here.
If he gets the second yellow, he's gone because he got one in the 16th minute of this game.
Well, he piled into the back of Razov, swung the elbow. Right through Razov with the forearm. And that's frustration. The Guatemala team appearing to be on the way to losing at home in their first qualifier of this round. And Razov really got hammered.
The U.S., if you're curious, packed about 40 cases of water for its short trip to Guatemala. And so all the water it is consuming, it actually brought in from the States.
Well, the close calls go in favor of the home team here. Ruano should have been sent off. That would have been his second yellow. He's given the benefit of the doubt here.
Reyna on the free kick, going far post, looking up for Lewis. There's also Haydock on the back post. Frazier back for Keller. You hear the intensity of the crowd. The U.S. forcing much of the play in the first half, scoring in stoppage time, and then in the second half just having to go back on D and hold off the Guatemalan charge. Haydock's long cross bounces out. It'll be a goal kick.
A poor quality cross from Frankie Haydock. He's brought in there to make a difference with his fresher legs, and he could have put Guatemala under pressure. Instead, the U.S. has to defend again.
There's Razov back on the field, so the U.S. is back to 11 on 11 after he had to be carried off. Anytime you receive medical attention, you can only come in with the permission of the referee. Now here's Haydock showing some of that speed in midfield. Remember, he's got fresh legs. Most of the other players have been out here for the duration. Each team only allowed 3 substitutions in World Cup play.
This is a game, Jack, that the United States should not lose going in at 0-0. They definitely, at this point, should not give up a goal in the last 6 minutes or so. It comes down to experience. It comes down to mental toughness. And it comes down to the fact that these are not little boys. Bruce Arena made that very clear. They were aware of the challenges and the hostility that they would be greeted with here in Guatemala, and they would just have to deal with it. They have thus far.
David Regis plays it up the wing. Lewis turns it. Headed out and clear. 85th minute. Guatemala looks for some kind of counter here and passes square in its defensive third. You can see the American players walking back defensively. Players are very tired here. Vanny letting it run on to Keller.
And Casey Keller saved by the goal post about 4 or 5 minutes ago on a corner kick attempt by Guatemala. We saw another scramble out in front where Chris Armas appeared to clear a ball, if not off the line, at least off his post.
Looking for Ruiz. Keller gets hammered down, and that's got to be a yellow card.
A blatant foul. Again, no call on the initial challenge on Keller. No attempt whatsoever to play the ball. Keller has this ball as it popped up high, and it's Ruiz. He's targeting Keller the whole way with his elbow as well as his shoulder. Never looked once at the ball. No call given there. This foul there on Ruiz, again, he should be thrown out for either one of those attempts, because in neither case did he play the ball. He played the man the whole way, and he played him pretty violently in both cases. This is what you face on the road in a World Cup qualifier with the stakes so high. The referee giving the benefit of the doubt in almost every instance to the home team.
The All-State save of the day.
Casey Keller, a long-range left-footed shot from Freddie Garcia. He lunges to his left and fists it away, and then watches as the rebound just barely cleared the crossbar.
Again, Guatemala on the attack. Fraser had to be helped off.
Ruiz should count himself fortunate to still be on the field, as should
Valencia into the middle.
As should Ruano, the acting captain, since Funes left the field.
Acevedo on the header that goes wide.
Acevedo, one of the later substitutions for Guatemala, as they brought on more forwards, more attacking-minded players, and he gets up well here and heads the ball wide. Keller, as always, looking so stoic, not worried whatsoever.
Estrada playing it forward quickly. It's Ruano. Rodas. Switching the point of attack. Valencia. Into the middle, Ruiz for Pesarozzi. Lewis volleys it clear. Again, the U.S. in a defensive posture.
They have to suck it up. They've used up all of their substitutions. Ramos, Hayduck, and Vanny on the field.
Flick on header into the middle. Scores! Wait a second. Will this goal be...
There was a bump. There was some contact out in front of Casey Keller. The celebrations go on. The U.S. players with their heads down. The goal. Will it stand?
It does. It counts.
Well, that's a crime, in fact. If Ruiz is the goal scorer, he should not have been on the field after his challenges to Casey Keller and Robin Fraser just a few moments ago. And much like the first half, Vanny not able to win this header. The ball drops down. Ruiz could have put his hand on the ball as well. Very close to being a handball. Robin Fraser trying to stay with it. Ruiz might have handled the ball with his right hand before he slipped it past Casey Keller. So in the first half, the USA in the stoppage time getting their goal. Here in the 89th minute, Ruiz equalizing for Guatemala.
And now the U.S. pressing very hard to try to pull out a win. Seeing 3 points in that 4-team group standings turn to 1 or maybe none if Guatemala can get another one here. Ruano working the right side. forward for Acevedo. Hard slide tackle in the penalty area by Reyna, making sure he gets the ball.
Not much left in time or in energy for the U.S. team. But it did look like Ruiz assisted the ball with his right hand as he got the inside track on Robin Fraser on the equalizing goal.
This portion of the match brought to you by Hershey's. We're about to enter stoppage time here in the second half. A very late goal by the U.S. in the first half.
Oh, wow.
Late one here in the second half.
The left knee of Acevedo planted right in the middle part of Claudio Reyna's back. That's what he's feeling. Not to mention 90 minutes in this tropical heat.
Into the middle again. Keller punching it clear. He took out Armas in the process. Rodas turns and chips it toward the penalty spot. Long volley goes well wide.
And there's no overtime, no extra time played. What we're having now is stoppage time, time added on due to injuries, substitutions, and even goal celebrations. Ball played up high. Vanny can't get to it. He's beaten to that challenge. And then Ruiz gets the inside track on Fraser and helps the ball along with his right arm before he stuck it past Casey Keller. And Ruiz very fortunate to still be on the field after making a couple of vicious challenges on Keller and Fraser just before that.
Tony Sane at midfield. You hear the din from the crowd. Guatemala pulling out at least a tie and maybe more here in the final moments.
Good defensive play there by Greg Vanny, staying step for step with Acevedo. There he is, getting the inside track and playing the ball very cleanly.
Ruano, the captain, has the long throw. To the short post. The U.S. manages to clear. Razov being handled at midfield.
Remember, the United States does not have to win this qualifying group. They only have to finish in the top 2 of the 4. But they are expected to win the group. A tie on the road on paper looks good going in, but the way it happened, the United States on Ante Razov's goal, he's our Chevrolet man of the match. They should have been able to make that 1-goal stand. Or they should have gone after some more.
Well, the U.S. gave up the middle third of the field in the second half. And Guatemala gladly took it.
I'll give Guatemala some credit. They fought and they fought and they scrapped. The crowd was with them and they made it back into this game.
And this game is over. The U.S. opens its 2002 World Cup qualifying with a 1-1 tie at Mazatenango, Guatemala.
Difficult conditions, some good things shown by the United States, in particular their ability in the first half to really put their stamp on the game, get players into the attack, and force pressure into Guatemala's end of the field. But the finish, a bitter pill to swallow for the United States. They were so close to coming away with 3 points on the road in a World Cup qualifier.
So the U.S. opens with a 1-1 tie.